Okay, so I just thought of this song for the show. It's a theme song. Listen.
For our theme right now?
Yeah, go.
Kurt has kids and an SUV. Joey scans Reddit obsessively. But we share music and a chromosome. It's a romance built to last and last. Dudes of future past. Dudes of future past. Kurt and Joey's podcast. Dudes of future past.
Hello!
That's such a good theme song.
Cross the country cast with Kurt Long and Joey Bragg.
We go international because that's how we do.
Yep, you're up there shooting moose and apologizing to policemen. And I'm
Sorry,
getting shot by policemen and seeing deer.
It's very true. I've shot at least 3 caribou last week.
Wow.
I'm wearing their hides right now. And to the delight of my friend here who is in the room with me.
Very exciting.
Yeah, this is pretty incredible. This is our first international guest interview
Woo!
podcast. Woo!
It's my first podcast,
Hope it goes
period.
to air. Who is it?
Her name, she's the lovely. You know her from such shows as Scream, the TV show. Is that what it was called?
Wow, you did your research.
I did my research. Yes, of course.
that's one of them. Liv and Maddie, which
Liv and
Joey
Maddie.
is on, and also you.
And I was also on it too,
Yeah.
but you were in scenes with Joey, not with me.
Yeah.
And of course, the upcoming, sure to be a sensation Hulu show, Light as a Feather.
Yeah.
And I think we can talk about our show, right? Well, we can't tell any plot details.
No,
you
but
and I
we-
are here, or just taped together. What do you say? We'll bleep it out if we
Yeah.
can't.
For this podcast.
I Zombie.
iZombie.
It's I Zombie.
CW, iZombie.
Wow.
We're together somehow in scenes.
Yeah.
We
Well,
are in
actually,
scenes.
not really.
No, we're on like this in the same area.
Yeah.
But we don't react to each other.
Never.
I'm just your vice principal. That's all I'm saying.
That's it. That
Her
might
name
have been
is
too much.
Brianne Chu. I haven't said your name
Woo!
yet.
No, Brianne
should say
Chu.
your
That's
name.
who I am.
Woohoo!
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Joey, now, are you excited? Were you excited when you heard that Brianne was on the show with me?
So excited. I was so excited to find out that you weren't lying, that you booked something.
Yeah. This
was
is
huge.
mainly the only thing I'm doing it for, is just to prove to you that I'm not lying, that I actually...
Yeah. And so far, it seems pretty believable.
Right?
Yeah. You got
I'll vouch for
Brianne.
him.
I think I saw a picture on set.
Oh, no. We haven't posted... Well, did I post? I sent
I
you.
think you might have sent me one.
I sent you privately. They're
Yeah.
very strict now.
Yeah.
This is a thing, see, as a future past sort of thing, for me, like, we weren't taking pictures on set back in the day. You just did not, but because, we didn't have,
Your phones with
phone,
you
compact
and, yeah.
recording devices that you could just walk into a set with.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
so, yeah, I have evolved from the era of, like, booking something, you just go, get on set, do your job, and then when you were down, you just sat around and either read a book or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but now part of doing your job is taking photos and promoting your show after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind
true.
of, sort of, yeah.
Right? You do have to promote
Which
it.
is
but-
weird for me, even.
Why?
Because I just, it never occurs to me, take a photo in this moment.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I will say, Brianne, you have a very good Instagram aesthetic. Your whole vibe on Instagram is very, very cool. Very up, cool, hip millennial.
How,
I appreciate that, Joey.
Yeah.
Are you saying that she doesn't hug cats in every photo? Is that the difference?
Wait, what?
Are you saying that she
You cut out for
doesn't
a second.
that she doesn't hug cats in every Instagram photo that she takes?
I'm saying that I think that there are certain aesthetics where hugging cats in every photo is appropriate, and there's aesthetics where sometimes you want to post a picture of you just, looking good. Brianne does that, and I have a cat to kind of even that out.
There you go.
Maybe
Yeah.
To each their own.
if you combine forces, you'd be pretty amazing.
Yeah. Is your aesthetic just pictures of a one
My
guy
fat head?
alone in the woods?
Yeah. Basically,
Mostly.
I want to learn. What do I have to do to be better at Instagram?
Well,
I've noticed that the people that I follow and that my sister follows are just the people that kind of look like they hate Instagram.
Really?
They don't care. Just act like you don't care, even
Apathetic.
if you care.
Yeah.
know?
Really?
Yeah, kind of.
So if I
Exactly.
care too much,
like a little reverent.
okay. Like shot composition, coloring, lighting.
Like,
I thought filters, that was all the thing.
It's got to look like the picture was both took no time at all, but also was the best out of like 100 different options.
Exactly. And also filters, no.
No filters.
No. That's like when Instagram first came out, you were like using these filters, but you can't.
The game has
anymore.
changed.
Yeah. If you don't edit and create your own filter, you're a fucking hack.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That shows you really care. I do. I usually go through and I'm messing with levels, RGBs, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's okay, but it's those preset ones.
The preset, like if I use a Ludwig.
If you use a Ludwig, I'm not talking to you.
That's thanks to my wife that I actually know that particular filter.
Blame
She's like,
your
try
wife.
Listen, well, I blame that's most of my life. For good and bad things, though.
Oh, okay.
Mostly good. But so this is I shouldn't care. I shouldn't use filters.
Yeah.
I should get some cats. Like
Cats are always good.
now, I feel like I have too many Instagrams right now. I have the I Don't Speak Canadian, the Dudes of Future Past, and my own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is but I feel like the unwritten rule is that people don't want to overlap. Like if they only want to see stuff about the podcast, they'll go to the podcast thing, right? No,
I don't know if there are any written rules yet. I don't know if we've gotten that far. Like it's to a point where like the algorithm of Instagram is changing so much.
Yeah.
That you're seeing like very set things. So if somebody wants to see our podcast stuff, like they're seeing it, whether it's being posted to that Instagram or your Instagram. If they've searched Dudes of Future Past once or said it in a conversation, our phones are listening, and they are putting it in front of our faces.
they are listening right now.
It bothers me so much that the feed is not in chronological order anymore.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Makes me so
I'll see
upset.
Oh, the timestamp.
Yeah, it's based. The algorithm is like it's based on whose photos do you like most often, and whose account you go to or profile or whatever, and then that's who pops up on your feed. So out of like the 1,000 people I follow, I probably see like 100 of them.
That's it.
Daily.
Because you don't maybe you just sift through other people, but then you go what if you spend extra time on a certain picture?
I guess, or picture profile, like you actually like it. It's about like your interaction.
Right.
Or you go from their picture to their profile, and you look at their story. Like the more, it all
the people
takes
I
all
stalk.
of that.
Yeah, the people you stalk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that's the thing. Like if you don't actually supply them to my timeline, I can't stalk them as well. You know what I mean? So,
but also, they're going to be on your timeline. It's going. That's how it kind of works. Like you get like 25 people or whoever on your timeline, and then the other people just aren't there anymore. Like not that they're not there, but like you can keep scrolling, and it'll just go back to yesterday's start of the feed.
Yeah, exactly.
As opposed to like showing you, okay, you've scrolled long enough to see pictures of people you don't care about as much.
Yeah, and if you want to look up someone that isn't on your feed, you have to like actually look them up.
You actually have to search them.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember all those people.
It's sad if you ever have somebody that you stalk, like look at your Instagram on your phone, and then you see that they're like the first story.
Exactly.
The stories.
And then you start like, I
so
have a problem.
embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing.
I have an issue. I should probably stop stalking this person.
The algorithm kind of promotes stalking.
I think I got now. See, Brianne's gonna come up on my feed now because I had to research her for the show, and we've been friendly and we've been Insta chat. This is the first time I've actually just Insta chat. So wait, I gotta get a shot of that face.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, it's warm in there.
Where?
In a DM. You slid into her DM.
I slid into the DMs. Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I went old school. I was like, well, if you want to just text me, if it's easier. She's like, no, I'm a millennial. I know how to chat through Instagram. It's cool.
But also, I don't have Wi-Fi out here because I didn't. It's international, and I didn't get a SIM card, and so I've been like going around Canada without navigation, internet.
How does that feel as a millennial without
It
your
is-
traditional cell phone usage?
It was super scary at first. I've done it before, but not to this extent. And it's like it was a little daunting, especially the fact that I have to use like an actual paper map. I
Like
had to
unfolding
learn how
shit,
to
Joey.
read
She's-
a map.
Yeah.
Oh.
What are
And-
these blue lines? This street is wet. Why is this?
Sir, do you know our longitude and or our latitude?
And I have to pull out a compass when I'm like, yeah.
Do
And
you use your Compass app? Does
I
that
use
work?
the compass
Okay.
app.
Everybody's got a
no,
Compass
it's
app.
like it's all maps are flawed in my opinion. I can't read them.
Yeah, they're not to scale. That's for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That
They're
building is a
not.
lot bigger in real
Yeah.
life than it is on this paper.
Yeah.
No, I haven't used a real map in a while.
With wherever you're facing.
Yeah.
Nothing to do there.
It doesn't turn with me like Waze does.
Yeah. How do I zoom?
How do I?
zoom in on a piece of paper?
Shout out to Waze. They're official sponsors.
They had a paper
Oh,
map,
okay.
and I accidentally stole a map from a gas station because I thought they were just like to take, because who would really want a map?
Like a brochure.
Like,
Yeah.
sure.
But they're like $9.
Yeah.
$9 on a map. Google it.
Because they're like, if you're dumb enough not to pay for a phone, they think, well, you should have to pay for a map.
Yeah. Well, the closer you guys go, the higher you guys go up on the West Coast, when you go past like Portland, Oregon, Vancouver, and everybody's all hipstery, you're
Yeah.
going to see a lot more maps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
They go old school.
There's tons of maps here.
They mostly have just people with tattoos of the local area on their bodies.
You just ask them to lift their shirt up.
Just like, here you go. Right there, yeah.
Right.
Well, you want to go down Powell here, and then you want to cut over, hold on, and go around
Yeah.
here.
If you've gone through my clavicle, you've gone a little bit
Too far.
Yeah, I'll head with you. I'll go with you. I don't want you to get lost. Can you just tell me where to go, sir?
Yeah, that's nothing I've ever wanted to hear from anybody. I'll go with you. I don't know.
Yeah, no,
No, please.
definitely not.
Leave me
Yeah.
alone.
That's why it sucks to be a girl.
Yeah,
Like
it's really because the thing is, I do want to ask people like recommendations, or if I'm lost, where to go, and you have to like pick very,
But you couldn't have picked a
carefully
better
who you
place,
ask.
though, because
That's true. Everyone here
Canada-
is so
they're
nice,
super nice, aren't they?
so nice.
Although we did, Brianne and I had a funny little encounter with a gentleman, a bartender,
Oh,
where I met her down in Gastown, and I said, let's stop in for a beer. We popped over, and I don't know about you, Joey, but when I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure what this local tavern supplies. What kind of pilsners you got, my good man? And the guy looked at me like I was an asshole, pushed the menu that was in front of me, opened it up to the beer page, and pointed to the pilsner. There was one pilsner. Like a dick, right?
yeah.
It was kind of dick.
He
Am I wrong?
he was a dick. Maybe
Yeah.
he's not a local, but
Yeah.
he was a dick.
Or maybe he had a hard
And then-
day. I don't know.
Did
And
you
then-
say something?
What did you say back
I
to him?
did say something, and I'm like, oh, thanks a lot. And then he said, because I was wearing I have a hat that says Tool on it. It's supposed to be ironic, but he said, well, your hat does say Tool. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm like, it's not meant for other people to act that way to me.
Yeah, where's your asshole hat?
Yeah.
See, I wish you were with me. Oh, that's a better comeback than I said.
That sucks, man.
That
See,
was my first, but that was kind of fun because it was my first, asshole encounter in Canada.
I said this on the podcast before. I had mostly passive aggressive experiences my time in Vancouver.
Really?
Mostly people are like,
I feel like that's coming from your
I'm
perspective.
putting that out there.
Maybe you're questioning the fact that people are so nice, so you have to justify it by saying, "Oh, they're not genuinely nice."
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. I'm too pessimistic to believe that anybody just
You're a
wants to.
cynic. Yeah.
Yeah. You're trying to get something out of me, you subway worker.
No, I think there is an element of it, like there's got to be this pent up sort of aggression with Canadians because they don't let it out.
Maybe.
That's always been my theory. Like as a Bostonian or Massachusetts guy, it was always a weird thing with my wife because she's not only Canadian but she's like Asian and her family is very, not to paint with a wide brush, but they're very calm and
It's a wide
mellow.
brush.
Right, it's a wide brush.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
No, but I get what.
So
Yeah.
all Asians are calmer.
Yeah, they're calmer. They're more, thoughtful or something. But as a Bostonian, we're like, you drive by somebody, cuts you off, like, hey, fuck you motherfucker! And then you can go back to being like, so anyway, I was at the flower store, and I picked up some geraniums for Mom for Mother's Day, and then, you son of a bitch, eat a dick! And then you could be, but you can go from that, and it's just because you let it out. It's like a little pressure valve,
Mm, a release.
A release. But then I can see how it puts people off. I can definitely understand that people might be disturbed by
Well,
that
even just
behavior.
driving in LA is like your whole act that you just did right now is what I sound like when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. Okay, so maybe it is regional.
Yeah, maybe.
I also think it's just constant. When you're stuck in a car, you feel that like safety of being able to yell at somebody
That's
without them
true.
really being able to hear you.
Yeah.
Or much.
And we should have that more in everyday life, where we just put noise canceling headphones on somebody we want to yell at, and then just say everything we want to say.
That sounds like a Black Mirror episode.
Oh, it does.
Actually, I think that kind of did happen in Black
Did it?
Mirror.
All right. If it didn't, we're all writing it, and it's ours. So
Charlie Brooker
patent pending.
calls up. He created Black
Oh,
Mirror. It's a
nice.
shout out. I was helping
So
you
you're
guys.
shouting out. Okay, you're helping us
I'm
get
helping
more.
the podcast.
Thank you.
She's very helpful.
Every bit counts.
Yeah. So I found this interesting. Now, we had what a delightful experience it was to be sitting in the van. Like, I got in the van, again, in my head at the set of iZombie, and they're bringing us to set, and I just get in the front seat, and it was all blacked out mirror, so I didn't see. It was like a nice, whatever, SUV, and I get in the front seat, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, I get scared the hell out of me.
Could you hear me breathing? Or did I say hi?
I didn't say anything. I just said it. You go, hi there. I'm like, oh, Jesus. She was sitting behind me in the back seat. But how serendipitous it was that it was like, oh, we just start talking, and then we're like, oh, we were on the same show in
Literally,
LA.
the first words you said to me was, I'm so glad I didn't fart.
Yeah, I did. Because I was thinking about it. It was early morning. I just had my coffee. I sat in the van. I thought nobody else was around. I was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's too stressful to poop in those situations.
Yeah, you can't.
So.
No. And everybody was...
Again, pressure valve.
Pressure valve. You got to release. I'm all about the release.
Gotta pull in your ear, release it every 30 seconds.
Yeah. So when the first words I said to you was, I'm so glad I didn't burp or fart.
Yeah.
And you still showed up for the podcast. So that shows a lot about you.
Questionable decisions.
Yep. Or, okay, or a good person.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Sorry,
it.
that's what I meant to say.
And within seconds, we were talking about you, Joseph.
Yep.
I always come up.
And how awesome you are. Here's a little tidbit that I found out from my research.
Mm-hmm.
That you were named Alex on the Liv and Maddie program.
Yes.
Your new show, Like Feather,
Is also Alex.
you're named Alex.
It's a reincarnation.
Why? Can we all just, can all the Liv and Maddie fans just believe that this is just you, your same character moving on?
Yeah,
Or is
exactly.
this
Well,
different?
no, we can't because timeline-wise, I've been in high school for a long time. I'll be in high school for a long time.
Yeah.
They're both in high school, so.
Okay. That's, all right. Well, that ruins it
Characters
for me.
are
I won't
also
be
very
watching.
different.
Are they?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit. Well, tell us about Alex, because I was never on set with you guys. What did you guys have to do, Joey?
So, Alex was based for Liv and Maddie. Alex was based off of a character from Frasier.
Really?
What's that girl's name? The one with dark hair.
Phoebe Newirth?
No.
Or Lilith.
Lilith.
It was based
Yeah.
off of Lilith. That's like what they told me in the breakdown. And so I had already seen Frasier, but I went back and I watched more, and so that was kind of my inspiration, and a little bit of Sheldon from Big Bang Theory.
Okay, I like it.
I mean, if you thought Joey was a nerd,
Yeah.
yeah.
Head of the robotics class.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what was it I can't remember what, I dressed up as a robot or I got in a box?
Yeah, you did dress up as a robot. I remember.
Was it romantic at all?
They tried to make it romantic, but I had a lack of emotion.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
'Cause
that's
I was
very
like
Lilith.
a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a wall we couldn't get past.
Exactly. Mhm.
Joey was into you, but it wasn't happening on your end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, what's that, Joey? Were you into her?
Look at that photo.
That's not a good photo. We don't have to worry. Don't worry about the photos. She's worrying about the photos.
I know,
I'm
it's
adding
just
elements of
distracting.
this.
Okay, sorry.
With the podcast, I'm gonna
was
hopefully
distracted.
put these out on YouTube or whatever for because kids get bored. They want to see little clips of us.
Us kids get bored.
Kids get
We have
bored.
no attention span.
I don't have any attention span. I don't know.
Just about Instagram. Kids get bored.
Kids get bored. I mean, does anybody do Twitter anymore?
Trump.
No.
Trump.
Trump
Trump
does.
does Twitter.
He loves Twitter.
He's done
And
everything.
it's like a town hall meeting, the Twitter now. Like, it's
Oh.
just for political activism.
Yeah.
And even jokes. I always I'll put a joke on Twitter, and I'm like, this is a waste of... If anybody reads this and then doesn't read my tweet about how they should register to vote, then I've done a disservice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then meanwhile, he's like, she's lying, Kavanaugh's great.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into the more Kavanaugh stuff in a second. I want to talk, Joey, about...
I want to talk light as a feather.
Let's talk light as a feather.
Yeah.
what was the impetus for this? Because I've read that it's sort of like a craft redo, or is that not true?
So it's based off of a book from Wattpad.
Okay.
And it was picked up by Hulu Awesomeness and Gramnet, which is Kelsey
Grammer.
Mm-hmm.
Another Kelsey Grammer reference.
Wow.
We don't go any podcast without at least 2 Kelsey Grammer references.
Oh, really? Well, there we go. One down. And, so they picked it up and they made it into a TV show loosely based off of these very popular books. And it's about this group of girls. There's 4 of us in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Very close-knit, and a newcomer, the mysterious girl, comes in and she asks us to play this game with her, light as a feather.
Right.
But it's played differently because we're not just levitating them and doing the chanting. She also predicts how the person levitating is going to die. And
adding a little twist from the slumber party game that people used to play.
A darker twist. And
New
the
girl,
people
slow
start
down,
to
you
die.
just got here.
What?
New girl just got here, and she's like, "You're gonna die this way." Now
Exactly.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we don't invite her to any more parties.
Yeah.
She's not so friendly.
She's weird.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you go along with it anyway. So now she predicts how you'll die.
How you'll die, each person playing it, and then they start to die that way. And you want to prevent that from happening to you, so you got to figure out how to stop the curse. And
and so it's a series of does everybody get their own way to die, or I don't know, is that revealing too much?
It's revealing too much.
Okay, I won't. Don't give me too much.
But something does happen that allows us to know that that's what will happen to us. Like it is real.
Wow.
You
yeah.
know?
So this is for the spooky lovers.
Yeah, I say it's a mix between Final Destination, The Craft, and good old Pretty Little Liars.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
I like
yeah.
it.
That's the vibe I got reading it. It was like a horror centric Pretty Little Liars.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The teaser was a very haunting feeling.
Yeah.
So there's enough of the supernatural, but there's more about like the real issues that go on between the girls and
Definitely.
things like that.
I think the characters.
Oh my God, Joey!
Whoa!
Sorry, we're in the hotel room of a Miss Chu right now, and we're on the 24th floor, and we're just slightly distracted as there's a window washer
cleaners.
just floated by.
Whoa.
So that's sorry.
That's scary.
Not great for the podcast listeners, but it freaked us out.
A portly man descended upon their window with a squeegee in one hand and a washing bottle in the other.
Yeah, you don't expect to see that kind of stuff. It's usually when something flies by your window on the 24th floor, it's probably bad news.
Can he see anything?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, I don't know.
I can see the cable. Like, we could literally reach out and cut the cable.
Do it.
Should we?
You want to do that? Well, it'd be good podcast
Turn
publicity.
this into a murder mystery podcast, but they know the murder will be.
Let's tell him how he's going to die.
Yeah. Or just write it and hold it
Yeah.
up to the window.
Watch Light as a Feather.
That's important. Light as a feather.
It's a strange promotional tool. So now, I'm sorry, we got distracted by this window washer. Now I'm all flustered.
Okay.
Light as a feather. You were talking about the issues of, is it something like you could pop in at any time, or is it something like you really have to watch from the beginning?
I think it's definitely something you have to watch from the beginning because it's really cool to see a show of this for this age range that the characters have very realistic and distinct character arcs.
Right.
Like it's 5 girls, so that's really cool right off the bat. It's a very diverse cast, and yeah, the characters go through things that are maybe like a little taboo to talk about in high school, and not every character is super likable all the time. They have traits that are just real, and it doesn't mean that they're bad people, and people have secrets and things get revealed, and yeah, I feel like although it's supernatural, it's still grounded.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be watching. Although, here's my issue. In Canada, we don't have the Hulu.
Hulu.
The Hulu is not available, and so we have to figure this out on how our Canadian friends
be on other networks
on other
around
platforms.
The world.
We'll figure that out,
Platforms,
but I want to make sure that
yeah.
everybody who's in Canada as well watches it some way, shape, or
I
form.
mean,
Maybe
in Canada you
TV?
can get Hulu, can't you?
Illegally, Joey?
Yeah, you can
Well,
get
not
it
illegally, because then that doesn't count.
Oh yeah,
as
you
people
want to get
watching it as
ratings?
viewers.
Yeah.
Hello.
No. We
Season
don't want people
2.
doing illegal. Subscribe to Hulu. If you live in Canada, just subscribe to Hulu. No, you can't do it. Could you do it through VPN?
I wish I knew the answer to this.
We just need more. We need more viewers for Brianne.
Tell us about your cast, Brian. It's got like Peyton List in it. It's got Brent Rivera. It goes, who would you feel like? Who are the core cast of girls?
So the core cast would be Liana Liberato, Haley Ram, Asiana Alexis, Peyton List, and myself. And we also have 2 really great male characters, Dylan Sprayberry and Jordan Rodriguez. So we kind of make up the core cast. And everyone was really great to work with. Everyone was really fun and super talented. I think casting did a great job. And that's the end of my answer.
Always throw a good compliment into casting when you can. It's always smart.
Mm-hmm. They give me jobs.
Huge favor, so.
Now, is this some? Say again?
Oh no, I was saying casting casted you, so it was a dem. So time filler, go.
No, Joey, I got to applaud you on getting us back on track about the cast and everything because I did like it. We were also we used to be set mates with Peyton, right? Back in
studio, like lot mates. Yeah.
We were lot mates with Peyton.
Jesse or Bob or something, right? Yeah.
Now, is this something different for her too, or is this like?
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't want to speak for her, but from my perspective, I feel like this is a good step in the right direction of being a more adult. I don't want to say adult actress because that sounds
She's
awful.
a Stormy Daniels.
Yeah. No, just coming into her own and breaking out of a younger audience.
Yeah.
You know? And she's a great actress, so this is a great opportunity for her, as for all of us.
You're doing great on your first podcast. I think it's me who's done 90 of these who's doing a horrible job. But why would that change?
No. Yeah, you're right. It's hard for Peyton to break out of that something other than the girl from Jessie or that girl from Disney Channel. Mm-hmm. To get into something where you're growing with your audience is it's really important. It's a big step. Right?
It is.
It's a great scope for that.
How do you feel like that's going for you?
Oh, it's fine.
I feel like it's
it's fine.
But I feel like you've done it quite seamlessly because you were in that Adam Sandler movie, which obviously is more mature content, right?
Yeah, I get naked in it. Yeah, it's
you get naked in it.
I do get naked in it.
You gotta watch. We'll watch it together.
I'm all for nudity. They were talking to me about the nudity in it, and there's a girl in it too, Bridget, who's also a Disney star, Bridget Mendler, and they were like. She didn't want to. It was something that I was more the advocate for getting naked because I was like, all these girls have gotten naked in every movie, especially Happy Madison movies, and then you never see a penis. You don't see a penis in these movies when people get naked. You see boobies, you see women's butts, you sometimes see dude butts. So I was the biggest advocate for get me naked, and they only showed my ass. They did not want to show my pee.
That water's cold too. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it.
I mean, I would be representing. I'm representing the diverse, small penises of the world, so that they can see something in a movie and not have to see the giant Dwayne the Rock Johnson penises and go that's nothing I can be. They can see that tiny penis and go, wow, that is something that I can aim for.
I still like him anyway.
Yeah,
it's all about diversity.
Yeah, it is about diversity of penis size.
Yeah. So I don't get naked. If you want to be out of the Disney world, just. Find somebody that's willing to...
just get naked. That's the key.
That's it. Boom. There you go, kids. That'll be...
Yeah. Life lesson.
Now, have you gotten, any sort of feedback, negative or otherwise, about that, from Disney fans? Because, we have some fans that are, big Liv and Maddie followers, and they're they question anything we do just on this podcast. Oh, my God, I can't believe you did that, Joey. Or, our friend Ryan.
My audience that I'm always playing was trying to play to was older, but we get our good buddy Ryan Lee, Brianne. We have a good fan of the podcast, Ryan Lee. He's listening. Probably say hello.
Hi, Ryan.
What's up?
Not too thrilled with me getting naked, and was glad to see you're working. Love to see you're still being able to pay rent. But did you have to get naked?
Yeah.
Did you have to curse? So there's still that line you got to walk of upsetting not too many people, but still going towards where you want to be. Because I want people to see me naked more than I want people to see me and think he's appropriate for families.
Yeah,
that's tough. I
You
have a
guys
girl
have to
that
play-
bullies me.
You are?
I mean, I wasn't like a super prominent face in like Nickelodeon or Disney, but I did some stuff for them, and I have like a very small fan base from that. And I have this one girl, a couple girls that like hardcore bully me on Instagram just because like they don't like the things I do, the projects I'm in, because it doesn't. They say I'm not a role model. Yeah, I'm not a role model, but. I mean, it's really surprising how much words hurt, especially when you're 22.
It is, but that's the thing. That's where I worry about, like, for my kids, for you guys, anybody, even myself. I see stuff and I'm like, oh, it's nice just that somebody's thinking about you. Like, oh, that's cool. I made an imprint on somebody out there in the world, and that means something. And then you find out the imprint is like, oh, a crazy person who's just like judging you or trashing everything you do, and you're like, oh, you just got to be able to like let it roll off your back, and it's easier said than done, especially in this day and age, and that's why. My kids, I have refused to give them any Instagram or social media access to this point.
Do you think they're sneaking it behind your back?
No, I've been pretty good about being a stalker dad who like looks up all their stuff and makes sure that their, all their devices are clear and all that. So
that's
so
funny.
far.
Like kids used to like sneak alcohol, probably weed or whatever, and now they're sneaking Instagram.
Yeah, now they're sneaking Instagram. Yeah, I don't know.
Like. The if you're trying to keep Ethan and Caden away from Instagram and like Twitter and stuff, and first of all, when we were growing up, like it wasn't bad yet. Like it wasn't taint, and it wasn't just a bunch of asses and a bunch of like videos of crackheads. Like it was like more honest. But I always think about Xbox Live. Like I played live video games, and Ethan's playing. Not to like, I don't want to ruin that for him. Yeah. But those are some of the worst things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, that's true. I heard my brother play that when I was a kid.
Yeah, and the things that they say
scarred me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, it's just 12-year-old kids that are in a basement where their parents can't hear, screaming the most obscene things you've ever heard.
Yeah. That's that, and that gets the old man side of me out. Like, you kids shouldn't be doing that because it turns out maybe the lack of actual human connection may turn you into an inhuman, type of person. You might turn into a monster because you don't see the results of what you say or do. Mm-hmm. You just get to spout out.
You lose like your empathy.
Yeah, like I was talking about my pressure release valve that Joey was saying. Yeah, like you're in your car, you can scream whatever, and nobody's going to hear you. But it is that moment where you realize you're screaming at somebody and your window's down and their window's down.
Yeah, and then you have the repercussion of it.
Yeah, and you're like, oh shit. That guy's
gonna punch. If somebody takes your parking spot, you'll scream at them. But if somebody cuts you off in line at the same grocery store, you wouldn't be like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
No.
Who the fuck do you think you are? I was standing here first.
Yeah. And I wonder, I think there's little evidence of that sort of seeping over into real life, like people like facing off against people, face to face where they wouldn't have, normally before. And I think people are starting to lose that line of what reality and internet is or social media is because they haven't had any ramifications or.
Or now, like, I think with like reality television and like some of these people on Instagram and YouTube, it's like if they're going to have a face-to-face fight or showdown or whatever, they like film it and then put it on the internet for people to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like when my buddy was at the bar who, was kind of a douche, and I was like, do I say something back or does this...
It's confusing. It's like, how am I supposed to react to this?
Yeah. What level do I go before this guy goes, oh no, I've never had somebody respond to me before like this, so he might just start swinging, or he might cry and be like, I'm so sorry, I don't know. And half the time I think that's what happens. I think when people get faced with somebody, like in a comment section or something, they trash somebody, and then somebody comes face to face and says, hey, I saw what you wrote, what the hell is that about? Like, there was some show a while back that tried to do that where celebrities would go and face their comment people or something.
The mean tweets?
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, mean tweets is fun too, but it's, Anyway, we're way off. This gets me.
Whoa.
Wow.
Here's my transition. I do think that the same kids that were screaming the N-word at me on Xbox Live 10 years ago are the ones that are also not believing the accusers of Brett Kavanaugh, the nominee for the Supreme Court. Look at that transition.
Wow, I like that. Was so smooth.
So smooth.
Great segue.
That is, yeah, the whole idea that you're, I get, I'm trying to play both sides of this just for argument's sake. Like, the idea that Brett Kavanaugh did something or didn't do something should be at least litigated. He should have his time in court because for any of us, if you, Joey, whatever, myself, like if somebody said, you did this, I'm accusing you of this, and you damn straight didn't do it, you should have your time to defend yourself.
To prove yourself, yeah.
Right. Fine. But at the same time, the weight of coming out with such a big claim like she has, this, Miss Ford, it shouldn't be taken lightly. And the fact that we have senators and our president who are just scoffing at this like it's no big deal, or like we should just ignore this woman, or that she's lying just because it helps their case, is crazy. I don't, if it does.
I think more harm, maybe not more harm than him getting in. Him getting into the Supreme Court would be like reversing Roe versus Wade and horrible steps back. But what's happening right now is that we're seeing that people like the president and people that are Republican and want this guy that's going to help their case and honestly like get their businesses more money in the Supreme Court, they're willing to discredit somebody that is accusing him of sexual misconduct. If we're going to just be like totally by the book by it, sexual misconduct.
Yeah.
But this whole thing of the president coming out and saying she was drunk, his second accuser, and that it's just it's a witch hunt by the Democrats, takes this like environment that we're in right now of speak out against people that have done you wrong, like this the whole wave of Me Too, the Me Too movement, is now polarized, and you're saying some people are saying don't believe when you're accusing somebody of something, don't believe the person that was the victim just because they're saying it happened. You need to, consider whether or not they gained something from it. And that's the horrible thing, is that there are little kids growing up right now that think that is something that high schoolers do. When people on Fox News are saying that it's just something that every 17-year-old boy has done something horrible like that. That excuses the 17-year-old boys to do horrible things, and excuses the girls and other people that are getting assaulted to feel like it's something that just happens at that age, that it's just something that comes with puberty. And that's hard. Like, that is something that you can't reverse when people have heard that at this developmental stage in their life, and that's what is so scary.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
I think for anybody. First of all, I think maybe this president's not so good.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm starting to think that. I'm starting to think maybe he's not a smart fella.
This is red flags.
Yeah, there's a couple things that I'm like, wait a second. No, I think that me being a father of a son and a daughter, it helps me balance sort of the ideas in my head, and also makes it really difficult and confusing. I mean, one end, I'm like, I want my son obviously to teach women respectfully and to act appropriately, but I do know when you're going through hormones, if you're attracted to a girl, if he's asking a girl out and she says no, and then he says, but I really like her, so I bought her flowers, right? And then he buys her flowers, and then she's like, no, I'm not into it. And then he's like, but maybe he sees signs of, well, maybe she is breaking. Maybe she will like me. Like, that kind of thing becomes more and more blurry. And at the same time, what's that?
I think it should be more and more. I think it should get more blurry. I think that there's been like a winner over kind of mindset that
80s rom-coms.
we've always had.
Yeah. Now, have you, as the female in the room, have you had a guy approach you a couple times and you were like not into it, but then like eventually he wore you down, or has that never happened to you?
Well, remember I was telling you the other day, I was shopping on Robson, and someone came up to me out of nowhere, kind of took me by surprise, and was just complimenting me, saying he really wanted to get to know me, and I was just not interested. And I told him that. I'm like, I'm really not interested. It's nice to meet you. I tried to be kind about it, but he was very persistent and like kind of even blocking the door that I was trying to get through.
Okay,
and at that point, well, yeah,
right.
of course, but you know, like at that point, he was trying to be charming about it,
Right.
you know, and he's like, no, I'm not gonna let you go because I really want to talk to you, I really want to get to know you. And I'm like, okay, you have to cut it off there. I think at any point when, for me, like if a guy makes me, like, there's
if you use your physical presence to make somebody feel intimidated,
so,
that's out. You're wrong.
Absolutely. When it comes to the flowers and everything, yeah, that's tough because at what point are you pushing it?
Yeah. What point? Like, because you see in all the romantic comedies and movies
Yeah.
and stuff, a guy's like, no, and then but he really loves the girl and does something else or whatever. It gets to be a weird space. Now, this is obviously has nothing to do with Kavanaugh, but it's just the idea of the what's blurred is all around. I mean, everything is blurred. It's like if a woman wants to say, hey, no, leave me alone, she should have every right to do that and make it clear. And if a guy keeps pursuing, then when is the time we stop them and be like, cut it off, that's harassment, that's whatever. And when do women have, and at the same time being a young millennial female, like where's the line where you're like making the choices yourself or being like, you don't want to be treated like as a damsel in distress sort of thing either, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, in most situations, I think I've just, I mean, it's always great. I never go out, like, to bars or anything without my girlfriends with me. Like, it sucks that you have to have that backup, but I only feel safe when I have that backup with me. And, yeah, you just have to, like, shut them down. And then in most cases, it's, like, because it's, like, not, like, they're not actually physically or sexually harassing me, there's not much I can do, so I will leave the bar. Or I might say something to the bartender, like, this guy is, like, out of hand, you know? But there isn't really much you can do, and obviously, ideally, it would be great if they just knew when to stop.
Yeah, that's what we got to figure out. And that is hard
because, like, how do you tell a boy, like, this is when you're supposed to stop when that line is blurry? And I think things are getting so blurry because people like Trump are he's in a position that's supposed to be held in a very high regard. He's on this pedestal, and he's saying terrible, stupid things. Yeah. And it's confusing for people, maybe not like of me and Joey's age. It's not really confusing for us. Like, I think we're able to, see the difference and know right from wrong, hopefully. Yeah. But I think when you're younger, it's like, it is confusing. You hear things, you absorb it, you don't know how to process this, and unless someone is telling you otherwise what's right from wrong, you don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
When you look to a world leader and he's being a grade A asshole.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know why you wouldn't want to be an asshole as a kid these days, because you could see.
Yeah, you get to be president if you're an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, or like even with the Olivia Munn thing with the Predators movie.
Right.
She spoke out against someone that was cast to play a role in the movie who turned out and was known by the person who casted him to be a sex offender.
Right.
And
pedophile, right?
Pedophile, yeah. 14-year-old girl. And first off, why would you do that? Because the girl, if she were to ever watch the movie, that's bad just all on its own. But on top of that, I think our society holds actors in a high regard. And people in movies, and you're putting him in a position where people are going to watch him on TV, maybe recognize him, maybe think that he's someone who deserves to be there, which he absolutely does not. Yeah. So I feel like she did the right thing by speaking out on it, but she also got, like, shamed for it by some people, outlets. Yeah. So it's like... Go ahead.
Yeah, it's become like a bipartisan issue.
And it never should be.
And it never should be, yeah.
Yeah, that you either the Democrats believe the accusers and the Republicans, want to hear both sides. It's ridiculous. Like, we should all just come to terms with the fact that it's just wrong. That there are things that there's the line isn't as blurred as people are making it seem. Yeah. I think that there's a very clear line, and I also think that it's kind of just been a societal thing we've seen so much, like Pepe Le Pew, the fucking Looney Tunes. Right. Pepe Le Pew is about a cat that's in love with a skunk, and just in the whole, like, the game that is played through the cartoon, through its whole run, is that he's having advancement after advancement after advancement that's getting shot down, but he's like, oh, I'm still going to go for you. And it's like cat rape, and it's just a cartoon that we show our kids. These kids are growing up watching this, and that's like, that's what they know, and that's what they think it's like. And they think that if somebody says no, then you corner them and you kiss them as many times as you can. And
that's where I was getting to with my whole thing. It's like, we got to set these boundaries a little bit. And I know it's all blurry and it's all depending. I mean, like, if you want a courtship, maybe do play hard to get. And that's fine. But, but if there's examples like this out there, it comes from that's why the Me Too movement is out there. It's like, let's shake up what's been established. Let's change this. But at the same time, I'm only asking these questions to sort of establish what the new grounds are. I mean, again, it doesn't get down to Kavanaugh so much. I mean, the basic thing is, it should be pretty simple. An actor could be replaced. A Supreme Court justice could be replaced. There's got to be plenty of other better options. Even if there's any question that this guy molested this woman, and if there's multiple accusers coming out, like, isn't there a pool of other dudes and women ladies who could do this job as Supreme Court justice? Just like, drop it, move on. Yeah. And the same thing with an actor. There's plenty of other actors who could play a role. You don't need a pedophile in your movie.
Absolutely.
But with Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump having 12 accusations against him, a Medal of Honor with this administration.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's the way it is. Now, how do you guys feel about it? Like, because I wanted to get to this idea, too, because it's more of the millennial thing, and you're seeing a lot of this with the Me Too movement, where standards that were different and the way people acted were different, so it's coming back to roost, which is good. But the idea of, like, Fox News was trying to put it out there, like, oh, well, this happened 30-something years ago. Why is it coming back to bite them now? Is there anything that you guys, do you operate like that now? Are you hyper aware of what you do now that may affect your life 30 years? I mean, not me. I never did. I was a dumb kid. You did whatever. You try to act the best you could, but, mistakes are made, things happen, and but I don't know what could possibly come back to me. I was a saint, actually.
You seem like you would.
I'm a good person, so nothing I did would ever come back. But are you hyper aware of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I think especially people who have started acting from a young age and have been in the business, we're already hyper aware of it. I think an interesting perspective would be from, like, someone who wasn't in the business. Is like, as teenagers, and the stuff that you see on Instagram, it's like, it's crazy. It's like, how are you not thinking about how this is going to affect you in 10, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like we're smart about it because we already know, and we've been kind of, like, trained to think that way. But there's so much stuff out there, and I try to, like, tell my sisters that as often as I can. It's like, think about, like, do you want to post that photo? Or do you want to even make that comment, because it's like, how is that going to come back to you?
Right.
Yeah. And we're living in a world where everything that we do with our friends is like, stays around forever.
It's documented, yeah.
Mm.
You go and you hang out, and it's on Snapchat and everything. So there are things like, there are videos now that come out where I guess I just didn't know better, or I was young, and I was a comedian for so long, and I'm sure I've tweeted things I got in trouble with Disney for tweeting stuff a lot. It was never anything hostile, but, like, I told you that thing. I tweeted, I was like, I have 2,000 followers. That's way more than Jesus ever had. Better than Jesus. Right. And it was like, and I got, like, not reprimanded, but, like, maybe this doesn't fit under the Disney image that we want to portray. And, like, stuff like that, I think, doesn't harm anybody. Like, it's not, like, propelling a mindset that it's not, I don't know how to explain it. I don't think I've said anything horrible, but I do think that there are things that I wouldn't want. Like, there's nothing I would want to cover up, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that I feel like would get in the way of me working. But there are things like, I'm sure I sang along with a song when I was a kid and probably said the N-word if I knew the rap. And, like, I wouldn't do that now, and I wouldn't do that. But there were times when I was a kid and I didn't know better. And I think saying that you can be somewhere and grow, as opposed to I was always great, is an important thing to portray, because our whole lives are on social media.
Yeah. Well, there just happened recently in the baseball world. There was several pitchers. I don't know if they're all pitchers, but there were several ball players who it was found out later that, like, when they were teenagers, which it's crazy for me to even think now that there are guys who were professional ball players who 7-8 years ago were in high school and they played, and they were posting things, but they said racist stuff. And now, again, we had this conversation on the last podcast about stuff you do, like Louis C.K. Where do you go, or how do you get past things? Like, for me, it's hard to believe that 7 years later you're a completely different person. But do you take away this guy's ball career because he said something nasty on a tweet 7 years ago and not believe that he could? Now he's playing with a bunch of different ethnicities and he could have had his eyes opened and, totally changed. I don't know. I don't know what the line is. But it makes you think, A, be a good person for one, and then B, don't say stupid shit.
But it's so hard if you think about, like, I can't imagine having gone through, like, middle school, and even I was late to get on the Instagram train in high school, but, like, I was stupid. Me and all my friends were stupid. Yeah. Not ever trying to hurt anyone, but, like, you would say stupid things, and obviously we know better now, but it's crazy to think that kids that are in high school, or, like, when I was that age, have to maybe think about everything that they're so hyper aware, like, they have to be, because there can be repercussions for it later on.
Right.
Like, it kind of... It's taking away part of their childhood, and maybe learning and growing is by making those mistakes. It just sucks that it's going to get documented and be there forever.
Yeah. I think we shouldn't all be punished for things, for just being a kid, first of all. Yeah.
I mean, that whole James Gunn thing, I don't know where I stand on it. I kind of disagree, I guess. Because there are certain things where sometimes, especially back then, not back then, I say it like it's crazy long ago, but kind of the times have changed a lot recently.
Yeah.
And like 10 years ago, what was a joke was now, and it's not because it's inappropriate or offensive, but it's just like we're in a joke. So making jokes just propels the fact that this whole thing that isn't normal and shouldn't be happening is just a funny punchline.
Yeah.
And the thing that I think needs to, when it's making light of something, if you can come out and say I was wrong, I should made light of something that is is happening to people across the country every day, and I shouldn't have. That's one thing. But going on and saying, I don't know.
I feel like that especially for people like us who are all artists, and Joey is a stand-up, and me being somewhat comical person. I don't know if I said that. That was a hard thing for me to say.
That's hard.
But the idea is to. In art, you take risks. You do, and sometimes it comes just from the soul, or it just comes from, like, an impulse, and you do it in the moment. So it's just like, okay, that spoke to me, or that made me feel something, so that's what art is supposed to do. It's supposed to get a rise out of you in some way or another. So to put limitations on me as an artist, it's tough. I know you have to be thoughtful. I know you have to be sensible. But again, having this whole global view with everything that you put out could really be stunting as far as any sort of art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And at the same time, you shouldn't pay the price, like, with your whole career for minor little things that you say or do. Now, whipping your dick out and asking a girl to watch you masturbate, that's not art.
Yeah.
I would say that. I would say that there is a line.
Yeah.
That there's something that can be a provocateur joke.
Let's establish that.
We'll have to pull your dick out.
I want to have a written document that shows where the line is. It starts with a zipper. Yeah. And then we just go from there. Anything below the belly button, we just stop at.
Just stop.
Leave it there. Boobies are fine. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my Joey's butt and boobies. That's it.
Yep. Isn't it funny that we have so many things going on in this world that, like, it is like a mass overwhelming of the country. Like, they're just throwing as much shit as they can as possible, and then also we're like, remember when they locked up families?
Yeah, right? Oh, God, it's happening so speedily. And again, I feel like, do you feel like, no, you've just been visiting, but do you feel like you're sort of detached from anything in the U.S. up here?
I feel like I am because I haven't turned on the TVs in my hotel room since I've gotten here. I mean, I do look at the news app on my phone when I'm in the hotel room because that's the only time I have Wi-Fi. But I've been so disconnected from my phone and everything. And actually, the only news I really got was like something my friend sent me from LA. She's in LA and she sent it to me while I was here. But otherwise, I'm pretty disconnected and it's kind of a relief.
Yeah.
You know? And I know it's like you can't escape from it, especially if you want change. You can't just hide away from it. But I have to say, having these 8 days to just breathe is so nice.
It's nice.
You know, because you're right. Things are moving so fast. It's hard to keep up and it's hard to like get all the views, both sides of it, and then also create your own opinion. And then people are always talking about it. It's just like, it's very overwhelming.
Yeah. I feel like the finish line has been moved so many times. It's like, well, when this thing comes out about Trump, that'll be the end of him. Wait, but then something else comes, well, that's definitely, and then it keeps moving, and then it's like, and I even think, like, whenever something gets decided about Kavanaugh one way or another, it'll just be something else will push it forward. It's like, how can you lock up kids? How can you do this? Say, grab them by the puss, whatever it is. Like, all that swath of stuff and in between. There's so many things that have happened, and we've just let it go. We're just, what can you do?
Just back and just waiting for the great miniseries on HBO about this to be, like, have some ending.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
Speaking of that, this is my segue, Joey. Let's end on a happier note. When I was a kid, or at least your age, I was always excited about the new fall TV lineup. Now, I know for years that's changed. That doesn't happen anymore because people are streaming, they're watching stuff, new stuff comes out.
It's all like ambulance dramas or hospital dramas.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a new show called New Amsterdam about a hospital.
Yeah.
And the first commercial for it, I don't know if you're on it, Brianne. If you're on it, it looks great. But the commercial for it is the guy walks in, he's like, I'm the new head of this hospital. If you're in the surgery department, raise your hand. A bunch of people raise their hand. He goes, you're fired. You put money over patients. You're fired. You're all gone. And I was like, what if somebody needs a surgery today?
What happens?
Come on, man. That's really irresponsible.
Yeah.
You got to interview all those people. That's days and days without a whole surgery department.
Yeah, that's, I don't.
And that's why I fall TV.
I will. And that's your fall TV review? I'm going to go through and see if there's anything you're excited about. Of course, Light as a Feather, definitely excited about.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
It comes out October, 12th?
12th.
October 12th.
And the whole season is out to binge on October 12th.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I can binge you. I'm going to binge you on October 12th.
Fall TV. That's TV.
Here's one that has been annoying me because I have been seeing the ads for it up here in Canada. Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's tons of billboards and.
Do you guys know Magnum PI, the original Magnum PI?
Tom Selleck, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Mm-hmm.
Good for you.
Never watched it.
Of course.
But we call Tom Selleck because people say him as a punchline to a joke all the time.
All the time. I watch. You know why I know who Tom Selleck is? Is because of Friends.
Oh, Friends
And
with Rachel,
was,
and
he was
Monica's boyfriend.
love interest. Yeah.
And he was without the mustache at that. He was pretty
Well,
iconic for a mustache. Oh, did he?
He had the mustache.
Oh, that's. Oh man, why did I ever thought
Tom Selleck doesn't exist without the mustache.
That's what I was gonna say. I thought it was like a big deal when he shaved it, but maybe that was a different show. But yeah, it was pretty iconic. Like I'm thinking about maybe trying to pull.
Played by Jay.
Say again.
He's played by Jay Hernandez, the new Magnum.
Jay Hernandez, which is good. We're going to ethnically diverse.
Yeah, I like it.
Nothing about Magnum says he has to be a white male with a mustache.
Just a big dick and a private investigator.
That's right. That's what that PI stands for.
Yeah.
Penis intensity.
Magnum penis intensity.
That's a good one. There you go.
I think Magnum is just big. That's what those
big,
condoms are, right?
Yeah,
Magnum.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's how they name them. They're like Magnum PI. We got to have something to cover those big dicks. Anyway. So, it's just disheartening to me because I look at everything. First of all, do you have to make everything a TV show, or do we have to have
or do you have to make everything like a reboot?
A reboot? Lethal Weapon coming back. also rebooted Lethal Weapon. They got rid of the other guy, and now William Scott or something is
That's
what's his
probably
name?
wrong.
From American Pie.
Sean William Scott.
Sean William Scott. Thank you. Scott William Scott. I like Scott William Scott better. His work is better than his brother. But I mean, they're rebooting it. First of all, I feel bad for that guy I can't name because he lost.
You don't. He's a rapist.
Oh, the guy who lost his job on Lethal Weapon is a rapist?
He was a Me Too movement. I don't know if he raped, but he definitely was fired for Me Too shenanigans.
I take back everything I said. I'm glad Sean William Scott is here.
This, so.
But I do like his good jawline on that Sean William Scott. I saw the ad and I was like, wow. It's like they lit it. They shined it or something. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Lighting
Photoshop.
Is your friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to do a little bit more on that. That role could have gone to Joey Bragg though. I think it could have been better with Joey Bragg.
Shout out to Joey Bragg.
Okay. Of course, last season of Big Bang Theory.
It's the last season.
It's the last season of Big Bang Theory.
They're making so much money.
Yeah. Is that all gone?
Insane.
The days of making like $10 million an episode?
I hope not.
I hope not. Yeah, I'm like,
I
I'll
think,
roll the dice.
With procedural shows, if you're lucky enough for it to run that long, like that is a possibility and for it to be that popular. But I think with streaming, unless like you're a big celebrity or a big movie star, TV star, I feel like you're never going to get to that point.
Yeah.
Because the attention spans and the amount of content out there, it's so oversaturated that it's like your show will never last for 10, 12 seasons. You know, you do one or two and you probably get bought out.
Well, that's the thing, and I think you used to hope for syndication. Like you thought, well, I do a show, I'm gonna get the first episode, and then I'll get repeat money.
Yeah,
and then if it goes into syndication, but now it's like they air once.
Well, I mean, BoJack Horseman just got off from Comedy Central for syndication. It's not out of the question.
Oh, really?
Oh, there you go.
Well, there you
See?
go.
So there's still some networks
hope.
paying for syndication. Not Netflix. They don't pay shit. I love you, Netflix. I'll be on any of your shows. And this is Manifest, which... have you seen the ads for this show?
Yeah, I think I have. And I've seen billboards. What is it about?
It's basically like Lost... Except they don't crash.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Here's it. When Montego Air Flight 828 landed safely after a turbulent but routine flight, the crew and passengers were relieved. Yet in the span of a few hours, the world has aged 5 years, and their friends, families, colleagues, after mourning their loss, had given up hope and moved on. And now, basically, like, it's sort of like that, what's that flight? The Philippine flight? Oh, that went away and we never found the plane?
Malaysian Air.
Malaysian Air, that's what it is.
Written by the wife of the pilot of that. They're coming back.
Yeah, they're coming back. So now, everybody who lost people in the Malaysian flight is like, well, maybe.
Oh, this is such an insensitive show.
It's such an insensitive show.
Fingers crossed.
And again, to the producers and actors on that show, good luck to you all. I wish you the best. But it just sort of struck me as kind of a weird...
That's true. And it is very similar to Lost.
Yeah. Anything, I mean, it's unfair to do anything with a plane to be like, you can't do that, Lost did it, but still.
Yeah. But it's also like they went to the 5 seasons into Lost when they got back. Yeah. And then they went back to the island because you can't make a show about people that have been gone going back to their normal lives and that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Just manifest.
No.
It's true.
Good.
Well, that's it. I think that's enough of taking up both of your time. Because I was gonna end the show on I looked up slumber party games because light as a feather in relation to this. But I don't know what slumber party games. I haven't played them in forever. My daughter has friends over. They play what is it? Not MASH. They played MASH before. Have you played that?
Oh my god!
It's like mansion,
so long ago.
apartment,
and
something,
shed and house.
House, yeah. Have you played that, Joey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to marry Kelly Clarkson in a mansion in Oklahoma.
See?
Real soon.
Wow.
See, I didn't know that. See, I love it. See, I didn't know these other kind of games. Did you ever play Light as a Feather or any of these weird Ouija board games or freaky games?
I never played Light as a Feather. before the show. And I refuse to ever touch a Ouija board because I'm a little superstitious.
You do feel like that you're talking to the dead.
Yeah, my grandma, because she's very superstitious, and she was like born in Indonesia, and there's, tons of superstition and voodoo. So, yeah, if I ever touched one, she'd probably burn my hand off.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Or I'd be like, not allowed in the house
Not
again.
allowed in the house.
Yeah.
All right, shoot. Well, I'm glad I didn't bring my Ouija board today. Joey, your favorite slumber party game, and we'll get out of here.
Oh, probably the sleeping part. Maybe. I don't know. I didn't really do many slumber parties. I was kind of a wuss as a kid. Like, I was always like, let's have slumber parties. And I was like, I want to go home. I'm ready to be done with
You're
things.
like calling dad.
My favorite game was pretending you're not falling asleep because everyone else would stay up later than you, and you don't want to be the first one to fall asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was the guy with the Sharpies writing dicks on people's heads.
You would be.
No, I would never do that. I was never that guy. I was always afraid of it. I did wake up one kid. There was one sleepover where a kid, we're all in sleeping bags in the basement of this kid's house, and this kid was sleepwalking and peed in between two sleeping bags of kids. Thankfully, it wasn't me. But, after that, slumber parties, I didn't do it anymore. Didn't do it anymore. We all went, oh my God! Jesse, no!
Damn it, Jesse.
Yeah. So that's why I don't do sleep. And I don't want my kids to have sleepovers either. And where can we look for you, Brianne? Where can all our wonderful fans look for you? Obviously, Light as a Feather coming out October 12th.
Light as a Feather. I mean, if you want to follow my amazing aesthetic on Instagram, it would be at Brianne Chu, BrianneTju, and don't follow me on Twitter because it's pointless. And that's about it, guys.
We need the numbers, but still, don't say anything. She won't respond.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, if you want to, go for it.
Yeah, and of course, look for us on iZombie in 2019. And anything else?
That's life, guys.
Joey Bragg, where can they look for you? Are you doing any stand-up soon?
Not that they should come to, no.
Okay. Don't come to it.
Don't come to it. I'm working on some stuff. No, I got just Instagram. Just Joey Bragg. Brianne's right. Don't follow me on Twitter. It's pointless.
Yeah. You can follow me if you like, but I don't say much. I just mainly retweet news articles about how Trump's awful.
Yeah. Oh, register to vote. Today's register to vote day.
Ooh, register to vote.
Let's do that.
Register to vote, everyone.
Register to vote. When we're recording this, it's register to vote day. When I put this out, could be next week, but no, hopefully it'll be tomorrow. So register to vote. Make sure your votes count wherever you are. Tell friends to vote. If you got that lame friend who's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter if you're doing the right way. If you're out there voting, make sure we don't have any more Republicans in office after this. Is that too slanted? Did I slant that too far?
Yeah, a little biased.
A little biased. All right, vote for whoever you want, but just do it.
Make sure as long as they're Democrat, whoever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoever you want, as long as they're
educate yourself before you vote. There you go.
And socialism isn't a bad word. It's actually not a bad thing. So don't let that sway you. Anyway, we're getting too far. All right, everybody, thanks for listening. That's for Brianne Chu, for Joey Bragg. Woo! We love you, Joey. We wish you were here with us. We'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I just thought of this song for the show. It's a theme song. Listen.
Right now?
Yeah, go.
Kurt has kids and an SUV. Joey scans Reddit obsessively. But we share music and a chromosome. It's a romance built to